I don't have a monitor. Anyway, good evening, fans, and welcome to another exciting Channel 22 sports presentation. I'm Rufus Washington, joined by Michael Kennedy. We are here at Hellcat Field, high above the southern sideline, as the Cougars of Hawthorne prepare to host their crosstown rival in what is the annual Mayor's Cup here at Hellcat Field, the Leuzinger Olympians, no less. We're expecting an exciting night tonight, fans. Mike, why don't you give us your early thoughts about what this matchup will mean?
Rufus, I think we're going to see two of the top backs in the South Bay, Alex Gaines for Hawthorne and Jason Taylor for Leuzinger. Last week, Jason Taylor rushed for 274 yards in a 58-38 loss to Canyons. He scored on runs of 76, 4, 48, and 43 yards. For the season now, 272 yards on 29 carries, while Alex Gaines, a 5'9", 180-pound junior, had 3 TDs, 2 rushing, and 1 receiving in a 34-21 win over South Torrance. So that's a little bit of what we can expect tonight from these two top backs.
In other words, fans, you can expect to see a lot of running the ball tonight, which we've told you before these two schools feature. We got a number of other things that will make this contest real special. We'll introduce those to you as we go along, but right now we have the kickoff being taken by the Olympians. So far, good field position. That's number 11 with the carry, brings it out to the 34-yard line. So from their own 34, the Olympians go on offense for the first time tonight.
And it's going to be the first time that we're going to take a look at this double wing tee that Mike Witt runs. He is 3-1 in this Mayor's Cup, and Hawthorne, the Cougars, are out for revenge.
And as you mentioned earlier, Jason Taylor, of course, being the feature back in that. Senior, 5'7", 180 pounds, gained over 1,400 yards last year. As you mentioned, has already got off to a great start this season. And with their first play, which is a dive over the middle, they keep it on the ground, and they pick up about 5 on the play.
And you can see how deceiving that offense is with the 2 wing backs lined up right behind the guards, the fullback behind the quarterback, and then with a quick pivot and toss, they give it out and pick up a good 5 yards for a 2nd and 5 at their own 40.
So it makes it a 2nd down now for the Olympians. This opening drive of the contest, fans. This time the pitch is to number 1 out of the backfield. As we mentioned, out of that double wing tee, you've got 4 potential ball handlers with it. That time, that was Aris McDaniel on the carry.
Last week, McDaniels rushed for 96 yards on 13 carries, and he added a 46-yard touchdown run. And they're just short of the first down. It's about 3rd and a foot.
3rd and a foot. We're told that the Cougars came into the night's contest pumped up. Taylor was saying a couple of his Cougar friends were predicting the win on the Cougars' part tonight. Cougars looking to rebound. This time they keep it on the ground. This is Taylor. Taylor breaks into the open field. We think he'll go all the way. Touchdown, Cougar Olympians, touchdown for the Olympians, courtesy of a 56-yard touchdown run. Exactly what the Cougar coaching staff had hoped to prevent, Michael.
Everybody looked like they were going to stack it at the center at 3rd and a foot, and he pops it. Once he's through that 8-man front that they threw against him, he was long gone. He only had 1 defender, the free safety, ran right by him, turned on the speed, goes 56 yards for the first score of tonight at the 10-23 mark.
Now we see the Olympians setting up for a 2-point conversion. They send a man in motion, keep it on the ground. That's Taylor with the carry. Where's the indication? And it is good. So, with 10:23 left, we're barely a minute and a half, just over a minute and a half into the contest, and the Leuzinger Olympians have struck already. They lead by a score right now of 8-0 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Well, we expect it.
Well, we tried to give you some of the idea of what to expect tonight, and Taylor, who scored 4 touchdowns, already has 1 tonight as he goes 56 yards on a scamper. And now we're going to see what Hawthorne and the Cougars have up their sleeve, as we'll get a chance to look at the explosive runner, Alex Gaines.
You know, it's amazing that a kid like Taylor, with the records he's already established, and he's looking to break Therian Fontenot's single-season rushing record of over 2,000 yards this year, that no one at the major college level is yet looking at him. I would suspect, though, before it's all said and done, this young man will have a college scholarship in his hands. Here's the Olympian kickoff, taken by one of the upbacks who breaks through the initial line of containment, and he brings it out to the 36-yard line, where the Cougars now will go on offense for the first time tonight. So they also will be starting with very good field position.
Art Hodeling's very proud of this offensive line. He has 6 offensive linemen on this squad that weigh in at over 260 pounds.
And, of course, Hawthorne has a back that's not too shabby himself, and that's one Alex Gaines. He's a junior, comes in at 5'8", 180 pounds, and you can expect to see him featured tonight. Right now he's lined up in the backfield by himself, steps up the block, they lay it up in the air. This one is a looping pass, and it's caught. Yeah. Or instead, I should say, intercepted by the Olympians. So, the Cougars go against the book on the first play of the game. You come out, you expect them to run the ball. They instead try to catch Leuzinger unawares with a pass, and instead that play backfires on him.
Mike Rogers has the interception. He's just a sophomore, and excellent field position for their second possession at the 32-yard line, Rufus. Turnovers will play a big part in tonight's contest.
And that first one goes against the Cougars on the interception by the Olympians. Once again, on the ground, this is Jason Taylor. Taylor brings it out to the 37 approximately. Let's call it the 38-yard line. Another nice pickup by Taylor on the first down play. Picks up about 7 on it.
Leuzinger victorious last year in this Mayor's Cup matchup by a score of 28-20. Already with an 8-0 very impressive lead on their first drive.
Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time they've got enough for the first down as they take it out to the 45-yard line. So the Olympians showing an ability to move the ball virtually at will here in the early going, and it is indeed the very early going, even though our score is 8-0 already, courtesy of a Jason Taylor 59-yard touchdown run. Leuzinger with their second possession.
And that ball carrier was Tyrone Du Bois. That's the third ball carrier they've used in just 6 plays.
Got a flag on the play, indication by virtue of the stoppage is that this will go against the Olympians.
Tonight's officials, the referee will be Tim Green. The head linesman is Ken Wilson. Michael Cordanian will be the line judge. The back judge is C.W. Allen. And the umpire is Jeff Lascola. I mentioned to Jeff Lascola that when we were covering Leuzinger baseball in the spring, he was the home plate umpire, and he couldn't believe that I had such a memory that I pulled that one out of left field and handed it to him. He said, "You're right. I was the umpire behind the plate on that game." Tonight, he's the umpire in this big contest.
The third team on the field, the officiating crew. Here's a pitch back to Taylor. Taylor's looking to go around the left side. Play being strung out. Pretty good defense that time by the Cougars as they forced him to the far sideline. That gave the defensive pursuit enough time to get there and to stop the big gain on that play.
Simi Cooley is the highly touted defensive end and offensive tight end for Hawthorne. USC has been out to scout him. He stands 6'5", 230 pounds. He'll be somebody to keep an eye on defensively.
And just for the benefit of our truck, we don't have replay. We have no monitor capability up here. Once again, here's a pitch back to Taylor. Taylor gets bounced at the line, and he's going to be dropped on the play after a gain of maybe 2 yards as they take it out near midfield. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long for the Olympians.
Kendall and Atufau are outstanding linebackers, and they'll be two to watch here tonight. Right now they bookend the front four for Hawthorne.
Leuzinger's quarterback roughing. This time on the pitch back, they pick up the first down and then some. A touchdown saving tackle perhaps made on the play. Can't see which Cougar that was, but I can tell you he got into the defensive backfield, and but for that last defender, that could have been another 6 points on the board for the Olympians.
That's a 25-yard pickup for Arias McDaniel. So for other than one play, Leuzinger Olympians have had possession this whole first quarter.
Here's a pitch back once again. They, as you noted earlier, Michael, they run a variety of backs at you. This time they run Sione Kalea at them. So it kind of keeps the defense off balance. When you've got any of four backs who can run the ball, and a couple of years ago out of this double wing T offense that the Olympians run, they had 3 1,000-yard rushers. Very difficult to defend. So it's a second down play now for the Olympians. Here's a pitch back to Taylor, and Taylor looks like he has close to enough for the first down as he crosses the 25-yard line, and the indication from the officiating crew is that he does. So 6:25 left here in the first quarter at Hal-Cap Field. The Leuzinger Olympians have totally dominated the early going. Of course, it's quite early, fans. We've still got 3.5 quarters left.
You mentioned Fountainoux's record. He set that back in 1999, 2,057 yards. And that's what Taylor has his sights on after 1,400 last year as a junior.
Once again, with the carry, that's Jason Taylor, sure-handed running back, and he picks up another good gain on the play as he breaks inside the 20-yard line. They're going to say down near the 18.
Well, he's got another 7-yard pickup. He's already scored on a 56-yard touchdown run. And as you mentioned, they're going to rotate 4 backs to carry the ball tonight.
He could conceivably have 100 yards here in the first quarter alone before it's all said and done. This time they hand it off to McDaniel, and McDaniel is going to be stopped out near the first down, but the Cougar defense rising to the occasion, starting to stiffen just a little and accept the challenge that this Leuzinger offense is putting in front of them.
The defender hit him, picked him right up off the turf, and then planted him. Might have been Cooley.
We already see the Hawthorne side of the stadium is starting to fill in real nicely, and the Olympian fans are starting to arrive as well. And we expect, before it's all said and done, for there to be a pretty nice-sized crowd here. Once again, this is number 11 with the carry, and he's brought down by a host of Cougars. Again, Sione Kalea with that carry.
So they pick up a first down at about the 12-yard line, and they'll keep this drive rolling. Let's take a look again at that defense for Hawthorne. They're going to bring about 8 in the box. That means they'll have 8 defenders within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Hawthorne, of course, coming into tonight's game with a 1-0 record. We're only in the second game of the season, fans. They beat South Torrance last week, 34-21. There's another carry, and this time a hard-hitting, bone-jarring tackle by number 7. That was Damon Olisey.
And Olisey takes care of Taylor on the play. But they reach the 10-yard line, only a 2-yard pickup.
Red zone defense now. If you're the Cougars, obviously you want to get a stop here, and if that's not successful, certainly you want to minimize the damage, see if you can keep it to a field goal attempt. Of course, that's a big challenge when you're playing against this Leuzinger offense. And again, they keep it on the ground. No surprise there. But as I said, the Cougar defense looking like they're starting to solve this riddle just a little bit, Michael.
I was down on the sidelines talking with both coaches prior to tonight's kickoff and ran into a familiar face here, former head coach Dan Robbins. He's in town to visit a friend's wedding, and we might have a chance to visit with our sideline reporter, Brandon Nash, and hopefully we can get him a chance to analyze the first half of action sometime in the second quarter. But it was good to see Coach Robbins.
Yeah.
He gave the pregame speech to fire up these Cougars. And I think he's going to have to give another one here at the end of the first quarter.
Well, first of all, he was a very successful fixture in this community as a football coach and as a builder and developer of young men. Here's a rollout by the quarterback. Here's a pass, and touchdown. Surprisingly, Leuzinger goes against the book on that touchdown pass by their quarterback, Kenneth Ruffin, as he hits number 41, Daniel Levitai on the touchdown score.
Well, Coach Witt said that Taylor would probably carry between 20 and 30 times, and quarterback Na'a was 4 or 5 last week. And he said, don't be surprised when we put the ball in the air tonight 4 or 5 times. So they're going for a 2-point conversion.
No surprise there. Leuzinger has not featured much of a kicking game over the last couple of years. Here's a 2-point conversion as it goes around the side, and I don't think he's successful on that. No, that one doesn't go for the Olympians. So that leaves our score at 14-0 in favor of the Leuzinger Olympians. We're here in the first quarter, 2:36 remaining. Leuzinger right now in command of this ball game. Of course, we don't know exactly yet what Hawthorne can do because they've only had one play from scrimmage here in the first quarter, and that, of course, turned out to be an interception.
Well, Leuzinger leading 14-0. You can see where that 2-point conversion pays off because it's given them at least a 2-touchdown advantage. With an interception on Hawthorne's first play, let's see if the Cougars play a little bit more conservative this time and get the ball to Gaines.
Kickoff taken by one of the up men, brings it out to the 34-yard line. Doing the return duty that time for the Olympians was Terrell Kendall.
They're all huddling on the sideline. And Hawthorne's offensive unit for their second play. See what kind of execution they get here.
I'm not sure, but I would suspect we won't see a pass on the first play. I mean, you got a guy like Corey Gaines. You got to use him and make him one of the difference makers in the game for you. Gaines in the backfield. This time they pitch it to Gaines. He shakes the initial hit, shakes a couple of hits, still on his feet. Gaines is going to pick up a first down, turns the corner, gets out to midfield.
And that's what we expected to see. A jitterbug move, hit 2 or 3 times, kept his feet churning, spun away. It looked like he was down back at the 40-yard line, and he gets all the way to midfield.
15-yard gain for Corey Gaines on the Cougars' second play from scrimmage of the game. This being their second possession. We're approaching the 2-minute mark here in the first quarter. A lot of movement along the line. You're going to see flags. I think this will go against the Cougars.
Procedure penalties to call against Hawthorne. And Tim Green marks off 5 yards. Takes it back to the 45-yard line.
The Cougar quarterback, number 10, Nave Vanayaku. Gaines in the backfield. They got a couple of guys split out wide. Misdirection, they keep it inside. That one doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't fool the Olympians at all. In fact, it's going to cost the Cougars 5 yards on that play. It's going to make it a 2nd and 15 as it takes them back, maybe even 10. Let me back up. It's going to be a 2nd and 20 as they retreat back to the 40-yard line.
The whole front four just pushed right back into Naha's lap, with Fletcher getting credit for the sack. He's the outside defensive end on our near side.
Cougars had a little momentum there with the first down run by Corey Gaines. This time the quarterback drops back to pass. He's scrambling, and he's going to take another loss on the play. This time a loss of about 3. It's going to make it, actually, and I'm saying 3, it's going to be a loss of about 6 on the play.
This time it's a blitz from the strong safety, Sione Kaila. And so the original line of scrimmage after Gaines' first carry was midfield at the 50. They find themselves all the way back at the 34-yard line.
Which is nearly where this drive started. It started,
started back at the 35.
Right.
The first play, he had a 15-yard pickup.
So it's a 3rd and long now. It's a 3rd and 26. They need to get to the Olympian 40-yard line to pick up the first down. The quarterback drops back to pass. Here's a pass out in the flat, but he short hops it. That one intended for number 8, Alex Gaines. So Hawthorne's going to be forced to punt.
They had the screen perfectly set up. Nobody was covering Gaines. He was wide open in front of the Hawthorne bench, and the pass was just skipped on one hop to him, and it comes up short.
So this may be the final play. Not sure if we'll get this one off before the half. 7 seconds left. Well, they do get the play away as the clock will expire for the first quarter. Losing a return, team steps away from it, and the ball is going to be downed at the 26-yard line. So when we come back to second quarter action on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 and Hawthorne's Community Cable Channel 22, we will come back with a score of 14-0 in favor of the Leuzinger Olympians here at the 2004 Mayor's Cup at Hawthorne High School. I see that, man. All right, fans, we're back for second quarter action here at Halcap Field. First quarter dominated by the Leuzinger Olympians, as indicated by the score. They lead 14-0. We've got a flag on the play as we start second quarter action. Leuzinger just stepped up to the line of scrimmage.
Got a dead ball foul before they came to the line of scrimmage. They're going to lose 5 yards.
So, as Mike said, Leuzinger loses 5 yards. So it'll be a 1st and 15. there at the 20-yard line. There's a pitch back to Jason Taylor. He bounces around the right side, doesn't pick up anything on that play, or if anything, very little.
Well, in their preseason outlook, the Daily Breeze ranked Banning and Carson as the #1 rivalry game of the season. As a second-ranked rivalry, they had Redondo and Maricosta, and they have this game ranked 3rd. I'll tell you, if this game is played later in the season rather than the second game of the year, this would be #1, Leuzinger and Hawthorne.
Clearly. I mean, it's a tradition around here, Mike. It's a fixture in this community. Each and every year, fans point toward it, and as you mentioned, and we'll get back to that point after Jason Taylor's carry around the right side. I'll make it about a 3rd down and 8 or so. But one of the things that you mentioned is a very good point, is that the dynamic certainly has changed by virtue of the fact that it's the second game of the season. Folks in this community are used to this being the last game of the season, and oftentimes it was a spoiler game. Folks have been kept out of the playoffs because of this game, losing seasons, a little bit of everything.
Well, Mike Witt explained that part of it has to do with the switch in leagues now. Hawthorne's in the Ocean League and Leuzinger's in the Bay League, and they're really looking for a non-league opponent for the second game of the season as we have a sweep near side.
Number 28 for the Cougars, able to wrap up, actually grab the jersey and hang on to Aris McDaniel. 28, of course, is Cooley Simi.
Well, they'll be short of the first down. Brings up 4th and about 3.
Or I should say Simi Cooley. Each of the rosters done a little bit differently. Hawthorne does theirs first name, last name. I will give them credit. They submitted it to us in numerical order. Leuzinger provided us a roster, not numerical order, but we're searching around and finding it. Leuzinger, though, having a kick here. So that's a good sign for the Hawthorne defense. It's a high kick, and it's going to sail out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And the ref's going to spot it, or the side judge is going to spot it now at the 32. He stepped back to the 30, comes up a yard or two. 32-yard line is where they'll put it in play at.
I know part of that decision had to do with field position, Rufus, but it was still 4th and maybe 2, and they've been able to move the ball on the ground all night. I can't see why Mike Witt just punts it away and gives it to Hawthorne. I would figure he's going to gamble and go for it because Hawthorne hasn't been able to move the ball offensively against his defense.
Well, both teams have thrown, even though it's the early going, have thrown a surprise or two our way. Hawthorne with the first play from scrimmage on their first possession of the game being a pass. Leuzinger scoring a touchdown by way of the pass, 10-yard touchdown pass. With the man in motion, out of the eye, they hand it to Corey Gaines. Gaines is going to pick up good yardage on the play, but there is a flag. There was a flag thrown back up at the line of scrimmage where the initial surge was, usually in the vicinity of a holding call. But no, the indication is there was a face mask.
Alex Gaines is just a junior. We talked about what he did last week, 5'9", 180 pounds. Ran for 2 touchdowns, was on the receiving end of a Naha pass for another touchdown. They broke the game open against South as we have a face mask penalty call with 20 points in the second quarter in that 13-point win.
In one of the more interesting seasons that we'll see last year, we're talking about 2003 season, Hawthorne actually ended the season with a 2-9 record, but they were in 3rd place in the league and earned a playoff spot despite that record. Made the trip up to St. Bonaventure High School, played a good game for almost a half, eventually went down to defeat by a deceptively large margin, but it was nonetheless a big moral boost and a big building block for this program coming into this season, that they actually made the playoffs, and Leuzinger with a slightly better record didn't.
Leuzinger last year was 3-7, 0-4 in the Bay League. And as you mentioned, Hawthorne was 2-2. That followed an 0-10. So over the last 2 years, they've been 2-19, and this is really a chance for those last 2 losing seasons to make good in the 2004 season.
Well, right now they've got to get on the board. That's Alex Gaines with the carry. Gaines picks up a first down. He's starting to assert himself a little bit. The defense is starting to gel in this game just a tad. So, again, it's real early, fans. It's a 14-0 score in favor of the Olympians right now with 8:26 left in the first half. But the Cougars, as we like to say, are on the prowl.
Gaines picks up 27 yards. Last week he had 180 yards on 22 carries.
Cougars in Olympian territory at the Olympian 39-yard line, where it's a 1st and 10 for them. Their quarterback, Nate Vainaku, again on the ground. This is Gaines. Gaines needs one block. He cuts it back inside, and he loses his footing at the 15-yard line. Had a blocker out in front, cut it back to the inside. However, an Olympian defender was able to disrupt his momentum just enough to cause him to lose his footing. Goes down at the 13-yard line is where they spotted at, and so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars now.
And he picks up another 25 yards. You can see the remarkable balance that he has as he weaved his way through the defensive traffic and eventually got tripped up by his own offensive lineman downfield.
So from 13, this is the Cougars' deepest penetration of the game. They keep the formula the same. They give it off to Gaines. Gaines looking for a little bit of running room, finds some as he gets down inside the 10, near the 5.
And he cut back against the flow. As the push went to the left side, he cut it back to the right side and carried all the way down near the 5. We've got an injured Leuzinger Olympian down.
That Olympian who
It'll
was
be
down
Aris
gets
McDaniel, a two-way player for Leuzinger.
So far, neither team has used a timeout here, and we may be having our first timeout, although there's no indication. McDaniels does come off the field under his own power.
Well, it looks like every time Gaines touches the ball, he's got a chance to take it for 6. Not a lot of size, but plenty of agility and great speed.
So it's a 2nd and 1 for the first down. It's a 2nd and goal from the 5. Well, on that carry, they don't get either. Well, they may have gotten close to the first down. Obviously not a touchdown.
Tula Holooki is there to make the stop. Just inside the 5. And we'll see what Leuzinger comes up with defensively. They've got, again, 6 down linemen. A couple of linebackers and only 2 cornerbacks out on the wideouts.
This obviously will be smash mouth football, as right now the Cougars on the pitch back to Gaines, and Gaines goes in from the 5 inside the 5-yard line. Touchdown, Hawthorne.
Gaines just needed 1 block. He got the pitch to the outside and then cut it back to the inside, avoided 1 tackler, and scampered in for the score. It's a 14-6 ball game with 5:54 to go in the half. You're watching the Mayor's Cup on Hawthorne Lawndale Cable Television Channel 22. Mike Kennedy and Rufus Washington, and we're going for the extra point.
Kick is up, and it is good. So at the 5:54 mark of the first half. Our score now, Leuzinger Olympians 14, but the Hawthorne Cougars have scratched, and they're on the board at 7.
Well, other than the one pass interception, this game has lived up to its billing. Both Gaines and Taylor have probably already rushed here in a quarter and a half for 50 yards each, and they both have a score.
And that's good to see. What we have now is, which we certainly expected, is an old-fashioned rivalry game that's starting to take the makings of being actually a very good football game. We saw and we called it a few minutes ago, that the Hawthorne defense had started to stiffen. As you say, maybe Coach Mike Witt, in terms of on the 4th and 2, when they had all the offensive momentum that they needed, elected not to go for the first down there, due in part to field position. Hawthorne takes advantage of it. So credit the Cougars. Here's the kick and the return, and it gets out to the 30-yard line. The Cougar special team right now playing some inspired football. Their fans on this side of the field, a renewed sense of excitement now that they have the makings of a pretty good football game at 14-7.
Sione Tuli, a reserve junior running back, with a nice return. Brings it out, gives them good field position for the Olympians at the 30-yard line. And again, we're going to look for Taylor. He'll be the wingback to the near side on this double wing formation.
This time the quarterback drops back to pass, rolls right, has some running room, tucks it under, decides to turn it upfield, and is going to pick up 8, maybe 9 yards on the play. Excellent carry that time by Kenneth Ruffin.
Well, Ruffin gets them about 8 yards plus, close to a first down. And they're going to stay on the ground. Some talented running backs.
So not only do you run a double wing T with 4 backs in the backfield, you got a quarterback who can run the ball as well. That will indeed give a lot of teams problems. This offense put in a few years ago in the Olympian playbook. With the carry this time is Aris McDaniel. McDaniel stopped after a short gain on that play, but indication from the side judge is that it's going to bring up a 3rd down.
Well, Coach Markham developed this at Bloomfield High School and brought it over to Leuzinger about 6 years ago. It's now Mike Witt inheriting the program in his 5th year, an overall record of 18 wins, 23 losses, and a tie. And he has just continued the tradition with this double wing. It's very tough to defense. You think you're going to key on Taylor, and they turn around and give it to McDaniel, or Ruffin takes the ball.
The officiating crew takes a second look at it, decides that the Olympians have enough for a first down. So at the 40-yard line, it's 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Fumble on the play. Looks like the Cougars have it. So there's a turnover back. So now we're 1-1 in the turnover department, and this turnover equally as beneficial to the Cougars, gives them excellent field position at the 35-yard line of the Leuzinger Olympians.
And as you mentioned, now they both have exchanged his turnovers, and Leuzinger was able to capitalize on that interception earlier. And we'll see if Hawthorne, with excellent position now at the 35, can take advantage.
Hawthorne with the ball, 4:28 left here in the first half. They trail by a score of 14-7, but in the last couple of possessions, the momentum has definitely shifted here in favor of the Cougars in front of their fans at Hellcat Field. Here's a pitch back to Gaines. Gaines coming around the right side. Olympian defenders there waiting on him as he's met first by Aris McDaniel. Joined later in the tackle by Sione Kalia.
And we've got a late flag thrown by the referee, Tim Green, right into the Hawthorne bench, and he's still nodding at the coaching staff. Most likely going to be a personal foul. It's against Hawthorne.
Well, That's one of those that goes down in the book, and you hate to say it, but the truth is the truth. That's what you call a dumb foul.
At first, I thought it might be a Leuzinger face mask right over there on the sideline, but Hawthorne gets Gaines run out of bounds, and somebody on the sideline said something, and it's a big one. Takes him back to midfield now.
That cost them 15 yards, you're right. They are back just inside Olympian territory at the Olympian 49-yard line, we'll call it. They've got to get down to the 25. It's a 2nd and 25. They literally have got to cover half the distance to the goal line to pick up the first down. Sending the man in motion, operating out of the I formation. Their quarterback drops back to pass, rolls left, lays it up, hits his receiver. He's got a wide open, some running room, picks up the first down, still going. This is number 1, and they get down inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. That was Marcus Butler with the reception.
So facing a 2nd and 25, they pick up 45 yards on the play and have a 1st and goal now at the Leuzinger 5.
Again, Coach Houtlington bringing something new to this Hawthorne offense. We've seen the passing game. The one that they tried the first time didn't work for them, but now they tried again. And, man, they're in scoring position looking to tie this game up. They give it. They keep it on the ground. Looks like that's Corey Gaines trying to turn the corner. Got a flag on the play. Gaines still driving. Gets down inside the 5, near the 3, maybe the 2, but another flag on the play. The officiating crew comes over to the near side here. They're conferring. The referee will give us the indication. Another foul against the penalty, I should say. It's going to be a penalty against the Cougars. Indication by the referee is that was holding. Our referee, of course, Tim Greer.
Tyrone Du Bois made the stop. He hog-tied him, wrapped him up, and dropped him inside the 5. And a penalty marked off against Hawthorne.
So that brings it back out to the 13-yard line is where they'll spot it at. It'll be 1st and goal from the 13.
So 2 costly penalties, one at midfield they were able to recover from. And now we'll see if they can get in the end zone with 3:05 to go here in the half.
Well, when you have a running offense like this, sometimes that extra room, now we're going to have a timeout taken by the Cougars.
Well, that's a good idea because Hawthorne looked like they were a little out of sync. They thought they were going to take it in for a score. At least they're going to have 4 shots inside the 5. And now they find themselves out at the 13. And they just want to reconfirm what they want to call. And you're right. Gives them a little bit more room, and Gaines is that scat back that he can take it. He can get to the corner and gives him room to cut back if he needs to.
When they come out of the timeout, it will be a 1st and goal from the 13-yard line. We've got 2:56 left in the first half. Actually, a very entertaining half of football, fans. Don't go anyplace. Keep your television tuned in right here. The Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. This one promises to be a good one. It has the makings. Of course, the Mayor's Cup, year in and year out, has been that kind of ball game. There have been some close games. Very rarely is there a blowout in this game. Last year, Leuzinger won by a margin of 28-20. That win coming late in the 4th quarter. But these are normally very entertaining games, and this one is following that same pattern.
Well, Mike Witt said that this is a game that his team circles on their calendar every year, and he's won 3 out of 4.
So as we come back to live action, 1st and goal from the 13. Here's a pitch back to Gaines. Gaines cuts it up inside. Gaines still running. Gaines has some. Gaines is going to go in. I do believe Touchdown! 13-yard touchdown run by Corey Gaines. A lot of guys reached, a lot of guys grabbed, but nobody tackled him in a white uniform, and therefore
sounded like I just described that play before he did it, that he was a scat back. He could get to the outside, then cut across against the grain, and takes it in for his second score on the night, this one from 13 yards out. Within an extra point, tying it up.
Cougars set up the swinging gate play. They go for two, and it is good. Wow.
So a little take this one. You went for two on your first score. Those are the Olympians, and now Hawthorne comes back.
And they come back and they take the lead, Michael, after going down early.
And now they come back after facing a 14-point deficit and score 15 straight points and lead 15-14.
They lead 15-14, and you got to say when Leuzinger jumped out to that early score with 10:23 mark of the first quarter, I mean, on two plays, and they were in the end zone, you thought this was going to be a long night for this Cougar team. Man, these guys have kept their chin up, and all of a sudden, with 2:50 left in the first half of the 2004 Mayor's Cup, the home team, Hawthorne Cougars, they've got the lead, they've got momentum, they've got the crowd. Right now, everything's going their way.
Well, these backs have lived up to their billing. Gaines with his second touchdown, a 56-yarder for Taylor in the first quarter.
That was a short kick, definitely taken by one of the up men there, but he's a guy who can run. He's got some running as he heads down the right side before he's finally forced out. We got to get that masked man number. That was number 34. We're going to find him in your program here, which, as we say, it's not in numerical order, but we'll search and find it.
Mark Rogers with a nice run back. He also had that interception on the first play for scrimmage for Hawthorne.
So, Mark Rogers,
well, they say he stepped out of bounds back at the 47. We thought we had him all the way down here about the 30-yard line.
Exactly. That, of course, being a bit of a break for the Cougars, a little bit of a breakdown on special teams for them, but a good special teams play on the other side for the Olympians. Jason Taylor with the carry. Taylor brings it inside the 45 to about the 44-yard line. Plenty of time left here in the first half, fans. 2 minutes, 20 seconds, clock running. Olympians with the football. They're going to list it as a 2nd and 6. Looks more like about a 2nd and 7. With a couple of guys in motion. Good defensive play that time by the Cougar two-way player. That's their quarterback, Nate Vanayaku. Vanayaku drops him for a loss on the play, brings him back out near midfield at about the 48-yard line. So that's going to make it a 3rd down and 12. Clock running, 1:40 left here in the first half. The Cougars giving a very good account of themselves right now as they lead by a score of 15-0, having scored 15 unanswered points.
I'm going right back to Taylor.
Quarterback keeper rolls out right, looks for some running room. Defense steps up to meet him, and they do, short of the first down as they bring him down at about the 41-yard line.
Well, they use Taylor as a decoy, and then Ruffin carries it. He'll be short by about 6.
Clock continues to run under a minute. A little bit surprised here that Hawthorne doesn't take a timeout. They elect to let it run. They've got a timeout. In fact, scoreboard shows that they've got 3 timeouts in the bank, but I know for sure that somebody used one early on. So the Olympians decide to go for it here on 4th and 4. Quarterback rollout. He's looking for somebody to pass to, tries to turn it up. It's going to be driven out of bounds at the 40, short of the first down. And with 24.5 seconds left in the first half, the Cougars will get another shot at it. And they've already shown that they've got a bit of a passing game.
Well, that was great pursuit by Simi Cooley, 6'5", 230 pounds. And he runs down the quarterback Ruffin, stops the clock, and they've got a chance for at least 3 more plays. And with somebody like Gaines handling the ball, it only takes 1 for him to get to the end zone.
And an indication, as I said, that they've got three timeouts. Deep in the backfield this time out of the I formation is Corey Gaines, and now we've got movement along the line. The offensive lineman for Hawthorne seeming to think that he was drawn, that there was movement by the defender. No agreement by the officiating crew. Instead, they mark off the 5 yards against the Cougars, takes them back to the 35-yard line, makes it a 1st and 15. No movement by the clock because it was a dead ball penalty.
Just anticipated the snap count and jumped off sides.
Well, you can either play it safe or play for the big strike. Let's see what they elect to do. They fumble the play, better get down on it. Okay. Looks like they're going to allow the clock to expire here. They're under 10 seconds left. Coaching staff indicates we don't want a timeout. Well, now the clock does stop, so someone not quite sure of what was going on.
Yeah, we anticipated they'd let the clock run out with 8 seconds to go.
Well, we've seen just about all.
Welcome to high school football. The boom box was in our press box broadcast booth here, and so one of the cheerleaders had to come in and get us out of the way.
There you go.
And needed her box. And
sure,
she's ready to go.
We're going to have some halftime music, some halftime entertainment, as always. If there's an indication while we've got this timeout, if there are any instructions from the truck, you need to get them to me. Your audio is very bare. I'm looking down at the sideline at Brandon Nash. Is it? Our indication.
Well, hopefully he'll get a chance to talk to either the Mayors at halftime or Dan Robbins, a former head coach here for Hawthorne. All right, 7.8, here we go, final play, first half. And they're just going to kneel down, run out the clock.
And that appears to be the wiser decision at this point. Okay, folks, we're going to try to bring to you a interview with the 2 mayors of our respective cities. Of course, the mayor, since we're here at the home field for Hawthorne High School in the city of Hawthorne, acknowledging Mayor Larry Guidi, and of course, Mayor Harold Hoffman, Mayor of Lawndale, California, home of the Leuzinger Olympians. So a great first half, a very entertaining first half, and one that comes as no surprise to any of us who've seen many of these games. Leuzinger jumped out to the early 14-0 lead, courtesy of a 56-yard run by Jason Taylor and a 10-yard pass by their quarterback Ruffin, and they led 14-0, dominated the entire first quarter. Man, we thought, gosh, at this pace, it's going to be a long night for the Cougars. Cougars bounce back, though.
Hawthorne comes back with 15 points to take the lead in the second quarter as Alex Gaines has a 5-yard run and a 13-yard run, followed by a 2-point conversion. And they have taken the lead. It looked like in that first period, with all the yardage that Taylor was adding up, that they might just open the game wide open. We're going to go down on the field and have an interview at halftime.
All right, Fans, we're going to go to our halftime break here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. And as we go to break, let us tell you here at Halcap Field, the home team, Hawthorne Cougars, lead by a score of 15-14, on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. All right, fans, we're back. I see the monitor up. I'm going to take that as an indication that we are back. We've just started the second half. The second half was started by a kickoff by the Olympians to the Cougars. So we're only on a second down play. And once again, as we had started to do, we're just having a few slight glitches in the game, but everything's going to be okay. And I'm talking about in our broadcast game here as well, but those things are to be expected. But we've got a great contest going right now, and the Olympians playing defense. They're struggling to come from behind. As we had mentioned, they jumped out to the early lead at 14-0. Hawthorne stormed back with 15 consecutive points, and that's where we start the second half. We're only a minute in, so you haven't missed much. Our score, Hawthorne 15, Leuzinger Olympians. Hawthorne Cougars 15, Leuzinger Olympians 14. Hawthorne in possession. This time the Olympian quarterback is Marcus Butler. That's a change. Butler drops back, rolls right, pulls it down. He's got some running room, turns it upfield, picks up the first down before he decides to slide in as if they're going in the home plate. But he does get the first down as he crosses the 40 to about the 42. Michael, why don't you give us a first half recap again that the fans missed?
4 plays into the game, it's Jason Taylor for the Olympians going 56 yards at the 10:53 mark, a 2-point conversion by Taylor. And the Olympians lead 8-0. Levitia catches Ruffin's pass from 10 yards out, and the PAT failed and made it 14-0. But Hawthorne comes back with a big effort by Alex Gaines. He scores from 5 yards out, again from 13 yards out. They go for a 2-point conversion and take the lead by a score of 15-14, and that brings you up to date here, second play of the third period.
Once again, change of quarterback. That's Butler. Butler tucks it under. Butler becoming a threat to the Leuzinger defense with his running ability as he takes it out near another first down. And the indication from the referee, Tim Greer, is that it is a first down. So 2 consecutive first downs here for the Cougars. In other area action tonight, we've got Verbum Day visiting the Lawndale Cardinals. The Cardinals last week right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 opened their inaugural varsity season with a 21-19 come-from-behind win over the Knights of Bishop Montgomery. They're looking to extend their record to 2-0 tonight. In fact, they're favored in their game against Verbum Day.
Butler started tonight as a wide receiver. He's replaced Naha as we start the third quarter at quarterback.
It's time to keep it on the ground, giving it to the very reliable Alex Gaines. Gaines takes it a little deeper into Olympian territory as he gets down to about the 43-yard line.
We're scanning the sideline to see if Naha was injured. Right now, I'm not able to locate him on the sideline, but no one has notified us that he was injured. I think they just want to make a change up at quarterback and give another challenge to this defense for the Olympians.
Well, one of the things that it does by clearly with Butler in the game, it adds an extra running back to this offense. This time to keep it on the ground, giving it to Terrell Kendall. Kendall gets out near the 40-yard line. So while it's not quite the diversity of the Olympian double wing T, which also features a running quarterback, it does in essence give them 3 running backs on the field.
Well, got a great crowd on hand here for this Mayor's Cup, and you take a look at the cheerleading crew for the Hawthorne Cougars, and these stands are full as we took a walk at halftime from goal line to goal line. And, of course, across the way on the western sideline, Leuzinger is very representative.
Referee winds the clock back up, and it's rolling. Approaching 8 minutes left here in the third quarter. Of course, this is high school football. We play 4 12-minute quarters. Butler in the center, out of the eye. He's got Kendall in the backfield. Now he's got movement along the line. Cougars think this is going to be against the Olympians, and if it is, it's going to be enough to give them a first down.
Sean Lavatia, the nose guard, came right up the middle and draws an offside mark off of 5 yards from Mike Greer.
So that penalty takes it down to the 35, where it'll be a first down for the Cougars. Cougars backfield, while we've got a break, gives us a chance to set it for you. Butler, the quarterback, under center. The up back in the I formation is Terrell Kendall, and the deep back is number 8, Alex Gaines. Here's the pitch back to Gaines, a bit high, but Gaines brings it down. Gaines on his feet. Gaines turning the corner, shakes a couple of tackles before he's brought down, but not until after he picks up 5 on the play.
Well, that's what Gaines does. He takes the pitch, goes to the outside. He's so quick. He draws that defensive end in. Then he makes one step inside, goes around him to the outside, and tries to turn the corner down the sideline. It's got a 2nd and 5 now.
2nd and 5 for the Cougars. I mean, let's face it, they have dominated this game since the second quarter. And the scoreboard reflects that, and this drive is a further indication of that, as you see on your screen. Butler under center. Butler hands it off again to Gaines. Gaines so good at breaking that first tackle. However, that time, that first defender had some extra help, so they were able to bring him down after a very short pickup on the play.
Might be the second time tonight he's been stopped at the line of scrimmage or for no gain. He's going to rush for over 100 yards tonight easily, as will his counterpart, Jason Taylor, for the Olympians. But right now, Hawthorne taking the opening kickoff has controlled the ball for the first 5.5 minutes here of the third quarter.
Saw one of their big offensive linemen there, number 78, Craig Mobley. Mobley comes in at 6'2", 280, and he is a junior, goes both ways, offense and defense. I can guarantee he opens up some big holes. Let's see if they go in this direction. He's over on the right side, well, that's 73 who was over on the right side. They come back to the left side. Gaines with a huge carry on that play. Trying not to be redundant by saying Alex Gaines with the big gain. You know.
It's Tyrone Du Bois chasing him down and brings him with the tackle at the 15.
And the player I was just about to mention, and one of the things I enjoy doing, Mike, as I have over the years, is getting as many mentions in of different guys out here, guys who come to practice every day, play their heart out. And there you see big number 73. Let's give you a little bit about Madele Leisake. He's 6'8", 360 pounds. There you see him in your camera, number 73. Working on the right side tackle. Gaines stays in the middle, runs between the guard and the center. Got a flag that comes in on the play. As you were saying, right now, I mean, one thing, and Hawthorne has a 1-point lead. One way you can make sure you win is if the other team doesn't have the football. And so far, man, they have run off nearly 7 minutes here in the third quarter.
That's the 11th play on the drive, aided by one penalty.
This time
one
it goes
against Hawthorne. Mike Greer indicates holding.
Of course, the first 2 times in an odd turnabout, and football is a game of funny bounces. Hawthorne had 2 penalties against them, and both penalties seemed to help them. They scored. They had a 2nd and 25. They pick up 45 after the penalty. Then they have a 1st and goal from the 3, get a 10-yard holding penalty, makes it a 1st and 13, and they score a touchdown out of that. And so now we've got another penalty. Looks like this one may be a delay of game. We'll see what the indication is. Well, it's a procedure penalty against the Cougars. So that's 2 consecutive penalties. That one being a dead ball penalty takes them back to the 29-yard line now.
Well, they had reached the 11-yard line before these back-to-back penalties have moved them almost out of field goal range. Now, there's a shot. That's our score, 15-14. Two-point conversion gives the Cougars that 1-point lead, and the clock is running. And Hawthorne has controlled the ball for the last 7.5 minutes.
Well,
there's our star tonight, number 8. Keep your eye on him, Alex Gaines, with 2 touchdowns.
But keep your eye on those big guys there who lay those blocks out for him. And any running back at any level, from flag, Pop Warner, all the way to the NFL, will tell you it doesn't come without good blocking up front and the offensive line. And boy, we're seeing a penalty fest right now. Looks like this is going to be another penalty against the Cougars. And that can't make their coaching staff very happy right now. They've lost 25 yards without snapping the ball.
Well, let's give credit to that offensive line for Hawthorne. You have Mobley and Leuzinger as the tackles, Perez and Romero are the guards, and Lazaro is the center. And that's what the big bubbas look like up front. What's Keith Jackson call them, the big uglies.
It is now a 1st down and 30. And now we're going to have a timeout taken by the Hawthorne Cougars as they become totally discombobulated on this drive after what was moving so smoothly and so efficiently, and just totally controlled, dominating at the line of scrimmage, controlling the clock. For whatever reason, guys got off page, and now the coaching staff calls a timeout, and I'm sure the singular objective is to get everybody back on the same page.
Back-to-back-to-back penalties moves them way back. Originally at the 11-yard line, looked like they were going to go in for a score.
Ball is marked now all the way back out at the 34-yard line, where it will be a 1st and 30 from the 34. So they've got to get down inside the 5 to pick up the 1st down. Of course, I'm sure the way they're looking at it clearly as they'd like to get another touchdown out of this to give them a little more operating room in this game. They lead right now by a margin of 1 at 15-14. That was our halftime score.
Well, that was Mike Witt pacing the sideline there for the Olympians, trying to decide what type of defensive scheme to throw in.
Well, so far his defensive scheme of inducing the Cougars in the penalties is working pretty well right
He's
now.
He's got 6 at the line of scrimmage.
A little bit of a mix-up. Butler's going to be taken down. So everything is going completely backwards right now for the
Well, he sent the whole
Cougars.
student body. You've heard of pitch student body right. Well, this time he sent the whole student body right after Butler. They faked it to Gaines, and Gaines as a decoy. Nobody paid any attention to him, and Butler gets dropped for another big loss, and now they find themselves at the 45-yard line. They've lost like 35 yards. And here's another look. Butler goes to the side, gets a play, and returns to the huddle.
They're at the 45. They've got to get down to the 5 at least for the 1st down. It is basically a 2nd and 40 is what it amounts to. And what this has done is it has effectively taken the Hawthorne crowd out of the game. They came out. They were really pumped up. Here's Butler with the keeper. Nothing doing there. Butler not showing a propensity to pass the ball. And I think what the Cougars are saying is that if you aren't going to throw it, or at least be a throwing threat. And right now we've got an injured Olympian down on the field. That's number 35 for the Olympians. That's Tyrone DeBose.
And DeBose has had a great night, offense and defensively, but we've called his number quite a few times for the outside linebacker.
But one of the things, as you said earlier, Michael, in terms of Nay Vanakua, and there you see Coach Mike Witt there giving his attention to the players on the sideline while the trainers attend to the injured Olympian on the field. Looks like it's a cramp, and that's we don't see any player injured, but that's just about the least of all injuries that
we saw that last week in our Bishop Montgomery Lawndale game, and the quarterback for Bishop Montgomery was able to come back and play later in the game after about 10 minutes on the bench. Boy, what a great crowd. I mean, Friday night, high school football, South Bay action. This is the place to be. Come out and support Lawndale, Leuzinger, and Hawthorne football this fall.
Well, they're pointing up our way, Mike. Maybe they don't think we're pretty enough to put on TV. I mean, they were tantalizingly close, as they say, but didn't elect to come up to the press box.
Well, we're in our new digs here. They just finished remodeling this press box. I make one suggestion. Let's have an open window. It was like a sauna in the first quarter. They have sealed this up, haven't they?
No, you are right about that, man. I mean, you were drenched inside the first 5 minutes. And now we see limping off the field, number 35, as we said, that's Tyrone DuBois. Let's hope that they're able to get that cramp worked out and that we'll see Tyrone again before this game is over. Another shot there of the Hawthorne crowd. There we are. Well, let me get in here. Now you get a shot of us. As, of course, my partner here in his first season on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, Michael Kennedy. I'm Rufus Washington. Man, this is fun. This has been a good game.
Well, I did have a tie on, but when the temperature got to 95, it had to come off.
We're just about ready to go back to live action, and we are. Butler under quarterback. It is a third and a whole lot. Call it a 3rd and 40, fans. We'll see what kind of 3rd and 40 play they have. Butler drops back to pass. Butler's still looking. Butler needs to let it go. Butler's going to pull it down. He won't get anywhere near a first down as he's met at the 30-yard line. And at the 30, the coaching staff of Hawthorne will need to make a decision here. Not sure how strong their kicking game is. If they were to kick it, this would be a 47-yard attempt.
So he picks up 14 yards. You know, as they sat back and kept losing yardage, all I could think of was quick kick, punt it away, pin them back. Because every succeeding play, they lost 10 yards, 10 yards, and 2 more penalties.
And right now with a 4th and 20, well, they're going to go for it. They've got a lot of confidence in what they've been doing tonight. I think you got to go to the air here, and Leuzinger's defensive alignment as they send Gaines in motion. Butler drops back to pass. They've got some time. Now they lay it up, and it's incomplete. That one intended for number 4, but it falls incomplete. So it's going to go over to the Olympians on downs.
He had good pass protection. Johnson was open. He just overthrows him. They'll turn it over as they controlled the ball for 14 plays and 10.5 minutes of this third quarter without getting a score. As we take another look, good protection, no rush, and now Butler finally tosses a little high.
A little high, and you're right. I mean, just as you said, close to 10.5 minutes, over 10.5 minutes, quite frankly, of the quarter. Leuzinger with it on the ground. Some running room there. Finally driven out of bounds. But not until after he picks up a first down. That was number 3, Jason Taylor. Officials come over to get him off the opposing sideline, escort him back to toward his huddle at least. Again, and that's good officiating there. They realize that this is a rivalry game, and not that you would expect anything untoward to happen, but just want to make sure that that good sportsmanship is demonstrated on both sides of the field.
Well, they pick up a first down. Simi Cooley with the tackle.
Once again, Jason Taylor with the carry. Taylor out near midfield. You got another Olympian down on the field.
Not a lot of depth over at Leuzinger. They have 28 players suited up tonight.
Hard to see from this vantage point who the injured Olympian
It's another leg
is.
cramp.
And the indication is that the injured Cougar is Sione Kalia, who's down now. So that break gives us another, a break in the action, I should say, gives us an opportunity to tell you that tonight's contest can be seen on Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
Well, while Lavatia is down for Leuzinger, it looks like the Hawthorne Cougars have got a leg cramp. And they've got their training staff out at midfield. Right on that big paw print.
Yeah, it seems to be right now in the early going in terms of the season. Leg cramps are the injury of the season. This is the second one. The Cougar, that was Damon Olasey, who comes off. He runs off, but this is the second Olympian as number 41 goes off the field.
It's Daniel Lavatia.
He goes off a little more spryly.
So we're at the 1:08 mark here in the third quarter. So far, it's been a scoreless third quarter, and the ball control belonged to Hawthorne, but they came up with 0 on the board and still hold to that 1-point advantage.
After a 29-point first half, you're right, we've yet to scratch here. They keep it on the ground. That's Jason Taylor with the carry. Taylor looks like he's got enough for the first down as he takes it into Cougar territory at about the Cougar 48-yard line.
Taylor picks up another 5 yards to add to his total. He's approaching that century mark tonight. Last week, an incredible 272 yards on 29 carries. And as we mentioned at the top of the program, touchdown runs of 76, 4, 48, and 43 yards.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians. This time they keep it on the ground. They give it to the one-armed man. That is number 35, no less, Tyrone Dubois. One of the Olympian running backs last year had a very similar injury where he had this big bat of an arm because of the hand injury. Obviously, the cast that covers it meets the CIF requirements. It prevents injury to not only the injured player, but it also prevents injury to any of the opposing players. So we're at the end of 3 quarters. And at the end of 3 quarters, our score here at Hellcat Field favors the Cougars on their home turf by a score of 15-14. They controlled most of that third quarter, kept the ball for 10 and a half minutes, failed to score out of it though, and now Hawthorne has the ball. Not Hawthorne, but Leuzinger instead is in possession out near midfield, and they're looking to start this fourth quarter by regaining the lead. as we take in a shot of the crowd here on Lawndale's Green to Cable Channel 22. You see the Cougar cheerleading squad trying to re-energize their crowd, who lost a lot of momentum when that drive that they held for so long stalled on them.
Unofficially, I had 15 plays on that drive, but there was also 5 penalties on the drive. So they were on the field a long time with their offensive unit, unable to come up with any points. Still hold a 1-point lead as we get ready to start fourth quarter action from Hawthorne.
It's not often you see 5 penalties against the offense on one drive.
So they'll start play at about the 48-yard line. Make it their own 48.
Referee gives a signal that it's time to play ball. So we are starting the fourth and final quarter. Flag on the play. They come in, they blow it dead. This one would appear that it's going to go against the Olympians this time. So what was a 2nd and 13 for them now becomes a 2nd and 18.
Second game into the season, you're still going to have some penalties, but we've had a plethora of penalties here tonight, and I think the coach is not going to be happy because execution and staying penalty-free is what you really go through in practice day after day after day, and these procedure penalties are uncalled for.
And it's an interesting development, Michael, because both teams started out operating so efficiently as we see it kept on the ground there. Jason Taylor with the carry.
Well, Taylor gets part of that 5-yard penalty back, close to the 48.
But as I was saying, both teams in the first half operated very efficiently. I mean, who would have thunk it, or who would have seen this coming in terms of the sloppiness here in the second half? I mean, thoroughly dominated the third quarter, and it started to show some signs of it here in the fourth. It's a 3rd and long, 3rd and 14, the scoreboard shows.
Well, it has to do with a lot of conditioning because these Leuzinger players are going two-way here tonight, and they were just on the field as defensive players. Now they're on the offensive side.
Missed tackle there. However, they'll still be brought down short of the first down. Ruffin, their quarterback of the night. Kenneth Ruffin is a senior quarterback for the Olympians. Well, I would think here in this particular situation, you're almost forced to punt it away. Hawthorne has obviously demonstrated their ability to move the ball. You don't want to give them the advantage of good field position to go along with that. And their defense is obviously stiffened quite a bit here in the second half, and quite frankly, since the first quarter.
Hawthorne wasn't sure they were going to go if they were going to go to punt formation or not. They waited till Ruffin dropped all the way back. Otherwise, they think they were going for a fake. They only send one man back. And here's
Gaines
the fake.
Back. Here's the fake. Let's see. He tucks it down, keeps it, picks up the first down before he's finally driven out of bounds. So Hawthorne anticipated it, but they didn't defend it.
He picks up 20 yards and a first down out of a 4th down punt formation. And here's another look. And finally, they'll drive him out of bounds, but he's got that big 20-yard gain. You know, they sent Kendall back as the lone punt return man and didn't give much of a rush.
Not much of a rush. That's what did him in. We're just underway here in the fourth quarter, fans. We got just under 11 minutes to go in the game. 1st and 10 for the Cougars. They keep it on the ground. This time it's Gaines. Gaines breaks through, nearly goes the distance. Taylor, I'm sorry, I said Gaines. It was actually Gaines who made the touchdown-saving tackle. Alex Gaines with a shoestring tackle of Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor, of course, the Olympian running back. Alex Gaines being the Cougar running back.
Here's Taylor, who broke one early in the game for 56 yards. Gaines trips him up, stops a touchdown run.
Cougars use a timeout here in the fourth quarter at the 10:39 mark.
Got a first down inside the 15.
It's been an odd turnabout of fortune here in the third quarter for the Cougar football team. When I say odd, they started out dominating the third. Before the third was over, they completely lost not only their offensive momentum, they had lost their crowd. Okay, Leuzinger started the fourth with possession, just on their side of the 50-yard line, and now they've moved down inside the Cougar 15-yard line. Cougars had them at a 4th and 5. Cougars anticipated that the Olympians may fake the punt, but they didn't defend it. The Olympians did just what they expected. They faked the punt. They pick up a first down out of it to keep their drive alive when Hawthorne had a golden opportunity to come away with a stop and retake momentum in this game.
Well, during that break, we had a chance to scan the sideline, and starting quarterback Na'a is down, out of uniform, just wearing his game jersey. He's right at about the 47-yard line, so that's the reason that Butler started the second half. Na'a was injured in the first half. We weren't aware of that.
And Gaines with the carry. Gaines down near the goal line. Taylor, rather. My apologies, fans, to you for that mistake. That was Jason Taylor.
Puts his head down, blasts into a defender right at the 1-yard line.
So it's going to be first and goal for the Olympians. That's number 3, Jason Taylor. I'm going to say it more than once just to make sure I get it right for you this time. Olympians in possession. Under quarterback for them is Ruffin. They got Taylor as a deep back. They send a man in motion, but they give it to Taylor. Taylor's going to be stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. No indication. I think they're going to blow that. His forward momentum have been stopped down, boy, right at the goal line. I'm looking where this side judge is standing, and he's standing 1 foot inside, just inside that goal line.
Jason Taylor trying to launch into the end zone for his second score of the evening. Comes up short. He's got 2 more shots at it.
See if our camera work can show you where that football is. It's spotted right on the goal line. It'll be second and goal for the Olympians. Once again, man in motion. They collide in the backfield, but that doesn't stop the scoring as Jason Taylor takes it in from 1 yard out, and now we've got a flag on the play. Taylor takes it in. We got an injured Olympian on the field. We got a flag on the play. Let's see if the score stands. First of all, it's a personal foul against the Olympians.
Could be a celebration penalty after the score.
Well, they put the points on the board. And now they're assessing the penalty. Okay, that score doesn't stand. They wiped the points off the board. They had put up 20. They wiped the points off the board. They take the Olympians back out to the 18-yard line.
Well, it's got to be personal foul, and that's it. A big 15-yard mark-off. Mike Witt's not going to be happy as they get the go-ahead touchdown from Jason Taylor, and they get a 15-yard mark-off on a personal foul penalty on that play.
Well, now the indication by the official is to put the touchdown on the board, so they scored a touchdown instead. We thought for a moment they had the scorekeeper take it off. Now they put it back on the board, and this is the extra point attempt by the Olympians coming up. This attempt is coming from way out. The ball is laid up in the air, and it's incomplete. So, at 8:54 of the fourth quarter, a 1-yard touchdown run by Jason Taylor gives the Olympians the lead at 20-15. However, a personal foul on the play took it out to the 18-yard line for the two-point conversion. It's awfully difficult to make it from 18 yards away. The Hawthorne defense holds them, and so they trail by only 5 at 20-15 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
Well, we've had a seesaw battle here in the second half, even though we did not have a score until Jason Taylor takes it in. A 5-point margin. Hawthorne comes back with a touchdown. They still can come up with a victory regardless of what they do on the PAT. Both teams have gone for the PAT and have been successful 1 out of 2 times each. On the kickoff.
So here's the kickoff. He's got some running room, cuts it back inside. I got to tell you, Mike, it looks to me as if, though, if he had taken the slot to the outside, he may have gotten more room on that, more yardage on that play, if not a touchdown. So it is a 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line for the Cougars. As they trail for the first time in the second half. They went in the locker room at halftime with a lead. Only score of the second half has put them behind. That's Alex Gaines with the carry. He's tackled by, again, that one-armed bandit, Tyrone Dubois. And we do hope that that injury will heal for him. As you can see, that big paw, that right arm of his, heavily bandaged.
Well, the last team with possession in this game might be the one who's going to come up with the victory, because they've been able to drive up and down the field all night long. It's who gets that critical score at the right point of the game. And staying on the ground, both of them have eaten up a lot of time.
Oh, once again, they keep it on the ground. This is Alex Gaines with the carry. He turns it inside. He picks up a first down.
Well, he's got a 17-yard gain and a first down. Well over the 100-yard mark tonight.
Again, the Cougars having to make a change at quarterback. Their starting wide receiver defensive back, Marcus Butler, has had to step in for the injured Nay Vanayaku.
Here goes Gaines on the toss. He's got lead blockers out in front of him. And probably could have picked up more yards if his lead blocker, Mobley, at 6'2", 280, hadn't turned around to look and see where he was and just blocked the man in front of him.
There's Gaines. Gaines is hit. Gaines stays on his feet, breaks 2 tackles, finally brought down.
Well, there's a flag back at the line of scrimmage, thrown right at the snap.
Took Sione Kalia to bring him down. Flag on the field. Referee is sorting it out now. He's going to give us an indication that it was holding against the Cougars.
Somebody as talented as Gaines, you know, the linemen have got to hold their blocks but not hold the blockers.
Here you see big number 73 there in your picture. We talked about him a little bit earlier. That's Maidele Leuzinger. Again, 6'8", 360-pound offensive lineman. Not a bad guy to be able to run behind. Again, to keep it on the ground this time. Very short play, and the ball comes loose. The indication is that the Olympians have recovered. So, well, we come down to a big turnover there by the Cougars at the 7:40 mark here in the fourth quarter. not what they were looking for at this time. Again, that penalty disrupted their momentum. They come out of it. They turn the ball over. Now they've got to play good defense and hope to get this ball back. With 7:40 left in the contest, they trail by a score of 20-15 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
Hawthorne was able to capitalize on a Leuzinger fumble as Gaines eventually scored his second touchdown in the first half. So let's see how costly the turnover is.
Ruffin, the quarterback, brings the offense up to the line of scrimmage, gives it off to Jason Taylor. Now it looks like there's a fumble. It may go the other way. Hawthorne is saying that they have it, and the referee signals that they do. So one turnover, to paraphrase what Shaquille O'Neal say, when Duncan hit the lucky shot, one lucky shot deserves another one. One fumble deserves another one here as the Cougars get the ball back. When you talk about needing a break and getting a break, they got one there.
And it's Butler, the quarterback, and the cornerback. He makes the recovery. And there he is at the bottom of the pile. There's the loose ball, pops out, and he dives right in there. So Butler, who started the second half at quarterback, comes up with a big defensive play here in the second half now.
So it'll be a 1st and 10. A 1st and 10 for the Cougars from about the 48-yard line. They're in Olympian territory. They got the break that they're needed. Let's see if they can capitalize. Here's the pitch back to Gaines. Gaines bounces off one tackle. Gaines turns it inside, and he picks up about 5 on the play.
Well, Leuzinger's really keyed on him here in the second half. The boys making the stop, and the boys might even be playing the spy role. In other words, he goes everywhere that Gaines goes, whether or not he has the ball. And then the whole host of white and blue jerseys from the Olympians track him down.
Well, one dimension that's been taken out of the game for the Cougars with the injury to their starting quarterback is the passing game. I mean, we saw him lay the ball up there, made a couple of good passes, although he had the one interception. And right now, Butler has not shown a propensity to put the ball in the air. And if that becomes the case, that makes it a little bit easier for this Leuzinger defense just to pin their ears back and come after the running game.
Coach Hawthorne told me in a pregame visit that he was going to have throw the ball 20 to 30 times tonight. He wasn't going to rely on Gaines. Gaines is going to get his carries and get his yards. But he wanted to balance the attack, and by losing his quarterback, he's had to change his old modus operandi for his offensive scheme. We've got a timeout on the field with 6:17 to go in the ball game. You're watching the Mayor's Cup on Channel 22, Hawthorne Lawndale Cable Television. 2015, Leuzinger over Lawndale. They're going to bring the chains out for a measurement, and it's going to be close. They had to reach around the 39 for a first down.
Of course, the Cougars only need to get in the end zone. They trail by 5. A touchdown gives them a 1-point lead. Of course, I would suspect they would go for the 2-point conversion then to give them protection against a field goal. But
well, we saw that last week in Bishop Montgomery and Lawndale, and they really couldn't get in good field position. They ended up losing 21-19 as they fumbled on the last play from scrimmage. And Lawndale came away with a very exciting victory in their first home game in over 20 years.
But first things first, they got to score, and they're a long way from scoring right now. And this Leuzinger defense obviously intends to have something to say about that before it's all said and done.
Well, they're short of the first down by half a yard. Brings up third down.
Clearly a 4-down effort. Again, they keep it on the ground. Well, there's the first down there. Of course, you can't make it any surer than that by putting the ball into the hands of Alex Gaines. I'll have the pleasure tomorrow, Michael, to watch my son play his first high school game. He plays on the freshman team for Los Alamitos. They'll be over at Brea High School tomorrow playing, and in fact, he's supposed to get a few reps at running back. We'll
Good
see.
For him.
See what he can do. He's a track man by nature.
Oh, you have to show him the films of Taylor and Gaines to see what kind of potential he thinks he can live up to.
Absolutely. Over the years, he's come out here a couple of times. He actually has grown up as Gaines with the carry. Gaines picks up the first down. Now he has Hawthorne in very much in a threatening position, and the Leuzinger defense now really back on their heels as they're trying to protect their 5-point lead. We've got plenty of football time left, fans, 5.5 minutes.
They got 16 yards on the carry, gives them a first down. Tomorrow night I'll be working play-by-play for the El Camino College game as they will host Golden West College. So it's a full football weekend for both of us.
Golden West being one of the Orange County JCs out of Costa Mesa.
And El Camino's off to an excellent start. Both teams are 2-0 for tomorrow night's game.
El Camino has had an outstanding football history. This time the play is stopped after a very little gain. A number of players over the years from both of these schools have, to borrow Hank Stram's word, matriculated from here on to El Camino, and El Camino has served as a launching pad for many a kid to play Division I football. It's just an outstanding tradition of JC football at El Camino College. That's our local school in this area, fans. So for you young players who may be out there listening and you're charting your future, if your future includes playing at El Camino, then that means somebody thinks you've got some talent. So it's a 2nd down and 10, they're calling that. There's a pitch back to Gaines. Gaines is going to be stopped after a very short gain on pickup on the play, I should say, but a flag comes in near the end of that play. Wow, there's a holding. I mean, the flag came in almost after the play was over. Referee saw holding somewhere along the way, but we saw earlier in the second quarter when Hawthorne was in a very similar position. In fact, on this end of the field in the second quarter, they had a penalty called against them, and that only gave them more room to operate with. Of course, they were a little deeper down than they are now.
Well, one of the co-captains and the leader of the El Camino defense is a Hawthorne graduate. Kete Tafu'u is the holding call against Hawthorne. They continue when they get in scoring into the red zone. Shoot themselves in the foot with the penalties. We look at Mike Witt across the way. Continue to encourage his defense.
And although you would think this is a must-pass situation for the Cougars, I mean, a running play wouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, not even the Olympians. As you can see, they have just about everyone up in the box. Here's the pitch back. Gaines with the carry. Gaines looking for some running room. Gaines is not going to be anywhere near the first down.
5 blue and white shirts put a halt to that run. He's got about a 4-yard pickup.
You're deep into your downs. You're in a 3rd down situation. I'm not sure that this is the down you want to pass on. I think at some point, and if they can get the first down, of course, if they get the first down, they're down inside the 10, which means they go back to their running game.
Well, now it comes down to clock management, too. With 3:10 remaining, down by a score. They have 3 timeouts left.
They have 3 timeouts left. They've got to get in the end zone to have any chance at winning the game. In my estimation, it's 3rd down, obviously a 4-down situation for them. Butler drops back. Butler keeps it. Butler turns it up. Has some running room, but again, even he is going to be short of the first down as he breaks inside the 25 down to about the 23. Needing to get, according to the placement of the sideline markers, he's got to get down to the 10-yard line. It's a 4th down.
4th and about 14. As we look at Butler on the sideline, a little disgusted, thought he was going to get the first down.
Well,
clock continues to run with 2:15 to go.
Looks like the Cougars, if there's a need to, are going to elect to use their timeouts on the defensive side. And now we've got a flag on the play that stops the clock at 1:59 left. Fans, here's a scenario. It's plain and simple. It is a 4th and 14. for the Cougars. Now looks like there's going to be a delay of game penalty, which is going to make it a 4th and about 19. They need to get to the 10-yard line. They're at the 29.
Well, we talked about clock management. They had the timeouts to spend, and they didn't do it. And now there is confusion out there. Now they're going to have to take a timeout. They've got 12 men on the field.
Well, I got to believe that a part of the story of this game, when it's said and done, will be the loss of the starting quarterback for the Cougars, Nave Vanaku, who went out with the injury, as I said, now in street clothes on the sideline, took away any threat of a passing game that the Cougars had. And in fact, their offense have been thus far, with 1:58 left here in the second half, has been stopped cold, as Leuzinger was able to key on the run, since it appeared that was the only offensive thrust that the Cougars had left, was the running game. And once you become one-dimensional, it becomes very easy for the defense, or it makes the defense's job easier, is what I should say. Hawthorne has certainly challenged them, but in critical junctures, knowing what they're going to do makes what you plan, your defensive scheme, a lot easier.
Well, the opening drive, 15 plays, it took them all the way to the 11-yard line, was probably the key to the game. They were not able to get into the end zone to get any more points, and then Leuzinger came back and got that go-ahead touchdown.
Well,
now there's more confusion. They're not sure who's on the field, who's off the field, and they'll come to the line of scrimmage. Time is of the essence. 1:58 left in the game.
It's a 4th and 19 play. You come out of a timeout, you would expect this not to be the case. Butler on the center, sends a man in motion. Butler drops back to pass. Butler on the pursuit, needs to let it go. Lays it up in the air. It's a jump ball. Ball is still up, and what's the indication? Don't see an indication yet. Looks like it's a completed play. Boy, that one was hard. Don't see any indication yet. In fact, by the position of the official, he spots it at the 5. Now they're going to say that it was incomplete, is what I'm being told. A little bit of confusion there by everybody on the play, but now they've got it sorted out. The referee, Tim Greer, comes out to the 29-yard line, indicates that it is a first down.
Here's another look at it. Butler, under pressure, launches it deep. It gets tipped, and then number 4 dives for it, and that's when everybody held their breath as it falls incomplete, and Leuzinger even thinks they may have intercepted it at the goal line. So the officials really never gave an indication of an incomplete pass, and Leuzinger's going to take it over and run out the clock.
Well, Hawthorne has 2 timeouts. Well, I must admit I can't tell anymore because the scoreboard, we know that they've taken 1. The scoreboard shows 3 timeouts on each side, so we can't depend upon that. And now a little bit of desperation starting to evidence itself on the play and the behavior of the Cougar players who are out on the field and even some on the sideline, sensing their disappointment that here in the 2004 Mayor's Cup, that cup may yet again take the short ride back over to Lawndale, where it's been for 3 out of the last 4 years.
Mike Whitt will go 4-1 with the Mayor's Cup, and Art Hodling will be 1-3.
Clock approaching 1 minute left. With the ball, here's Jason Taylor. Taylor's got some running room. Looks like he may have stepped out of bounds, and he did. All this running is for naught.
They'll bring it back to the 46-yard line.
Official indicates that he stepped out of bounds at the 46-yard line, enough for the first down. And barring a flat-out miracle, you're right, the Cougars are going to go down to defeat again in the Mayor's Cup. As you see Taylor here, you'll see him right there. It's where
and it's Gaines who forces him out of bounds. Otherwise, he's gone about 70 yards for a score. 56 seconds remaining. There's a shot. Leuzinger's player of the game, Jason Taylor. For Hawthorne, it's Alex Gaines. Lived up to their pregame hype.
They certainly did, and I think again, as we've said before, and almost now like a broken record, but the quarterback situation looks like it may have had some effect on the Cougar offensive game strategy. Took them out of it a bit, and
Ruffin's just going to kneel down.
One score.
The clock. It continues to run.
There you see it. One score in the second half was all that Leuzinger needed. That score, of course, came at the 8:54 mark of the fourth quarter. They had trailed by a score of 15-0 coming out of the half. Hawthorne dominated 10.5 minutes of the third quarter, failed to score. In fact, picked up negative momentum there toward the end of that as we wind down to our last 15 seconds or so. The Leuzinger Olympians, there's a delay of game penalty that they will cheerfully give. But they're going to get out of here one more time at Halcap Field. They're going to go back home, make that short ride back to Lawndale with a 20-15 win in their pockets. Going to pull their record even, and we're in non-league season right now at 1-1. Hawthorne's going to drop to 1-1. But the game lived up to the hype, fans. It was a great game, and Leuzinger will get out of here with the win by a score of 20-15 as they cheerfully go to their side of the field. Michael, your parting thoughts on this one?
Well, they talked about rivalry week, and it certainly was here at Hawthorne, as Hawthorne goes toe-to-toe in a slugfest with the two of the top backs in the South Bay. Both of them live up to their first week performances. Alex Gaines scores twice to keep Hawthorne in the game in the first half. Jason Taylor scores twice, including the winning touchdown to give the Leuzinger Olympians at 20-15 victory. For Mike Witt, he's now 4-1 in this Mayor Cup. And hopefully we're going to have both mayors to exchange congratulations and condolences down on the field with Brendan Nash, our sideline reporter.
We'll keep it live right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. We see Mayor Hoffman out on the field. You can't quite see him there. He's out near the Tiger Paw. Of course, he's got that mayor's trophy in his hand, and he's waiting for his hometown Leuzinger Olympians to come over so he can bestow yet again the spoils of victory that will go to the Leuzinger Olympians as they win by a final margin. And there you see Mayor Hoffman there, and he's got a pretty tight grip on that trophy. It's a good thing that Leuzinger won with the grip that he's got on it. I'm not sure if Hawthorne had won the game if Guida would be able to get it out of his hands.
Well, they're taking it back to Lawndale. He's got it. He's not giving it up. Again, I want to thank both coaches for helping us in our pre-game preparation this week, both athletic directors and, of course, all of their staffs and assistant coaches. It's been a great week of football, and this is a rivalry that tops all of them in the South Bay.
An outstanding week of football, and for the Lawndale faithful as Mayor Hoffman heads over to the Leuzinger side of the field with that trophy in hand. The Leuzinger faithful celebrate their victory, made all the more sweeter, obviously, as they come in to Halcap Field and get this win. Okay? So, fans, let us just say the Mayor's Cup 2004, the final result was Leuzinger 20, Hawthorne 15, in a very good ball game, very entertaining ball game. The Hawthorne fans go home a little disappointed, Mike, but those, as they say in the game, are the breaks.
Well, they got to look forward to getting ready for next week. You know, you play on Friday night, and you got to put this one behind you if you're a Hawthorne Cougar fan, and get ready for Bay League play.
So, as we get out of here, fans, one last time for the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 under the expert direction of one Mr. Tom Strickfat and all the fellas on the camera crew, including Joe Shore, Eric Chavez, and Luther, who's going to kill me because I can't remember his Luther's last name, but at any rate, Luther Mitchell, thank you, from the truck. For my partner, Michael Kennedy, I'm Rufus Washington saying good night, and we'll see you again next week, fans, on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, our final in the 2004 Mayor's Cup, Leuzinger 20, Hawthorne 15.